Greetings, metaphysicians. This is episode 190, Geometric Patterning. This is another angelic reformation process that does wonders, this time for your brain, really your whole self, but lots of people report feeling shifts in their way of thinking, being, or experiencing while listening to this and after. Enjoy the episode.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show. The statements and advice offered in this podcast are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition, and are not substitutes for prudent medical care offered by licensed medical professionals. References to healing or treatments in this episode are describing faith-based blessings performed by God and the master healing angels. Neither this episode nor any part of it may be copied, transcribed, distorted, sold, republished, or distributed without first receiving the express written permission of both the CMA International Foundation and Up and Awaken Productions.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci. Here to remind you, you are a spiritual being currently having a temporary human experience here on lovely planet Earth. Enjoy it. This is Season 8, Angelic Reformation, and this is episode 190, Geometric Patterning. This season is all about the body of knowledge known as Angelic Reformation, which is what we call the tools, processes, and rapid spiritual development work that has been presented through the teacher, Master John Douglas. It is a set of spiritual development tools that anyone can choose to use alongside any existing spiritual practice, religion, or tradition towards the intentional, rapid evolution of your consciousness. Today, we are discussing the geometric patterning process, or GEO for short. And just to remind everyone, a process in this context is an MP3, kind of like an audio meditation. There are currently 15 processes in the array of tools that make up Angelic Reformation, ranging in length from 3 minutes to an hour. If you have not yet listened to the first 2 episodes for this season, they might be helpful for you to listen in to. Episode 168 is Angelic Reformation, and episode 169 is the Evolution of Consciousness. They do provide context for what we are talking about. However, each episode also works as a standalone. If you like this episode and want to learn more, I suggest scrolling back to find the episode titled Angelic Reformation. Now, if you are ready, then let's get meta. Master Angels, I humbly request your presence, guidance, and support through this episode. Please help these words to be useful to all listeners on their evolutionary journey. Let me know the truth, speak the truth, become the truth, and be the truth. And please let this episode reach whoever needs to hear it. Thank you with full faith. Bless creation. Geo-patterning. In my own words, this is a tool that reorganizes your brain into something more efficient, creative, and omniscient than it typically is. Now, here's the description of geometric patterning from the globalcma.org website, where this process can be purchased. It's described as a downpouring of evolutionary energy that helps empower a person with awareness, synchronicity, improved consciousness, and knowledge of existence structured in every particle. And it is suggested to be listened to once a week. This is a process that is considered an advanced process as well. Everyone can listen to it, but it is considered to be one of the advanced processes along with prismatic awareness, which we've already had an episode about, faith and sensory development, which we have not yet had an episode about, and soul elevation, which we also have had an episode about. And before I share my own experiences with this process, let's hear from a few people who also enjoy geopatterning.
Hi, this is Ida, and I live in Northern Virginia, and I've been using angelic reformation tools since 2011, and I like to share an experience I've had with geometric patterning. Geometric patterning processes is one of the most miraculous processes, and I remember when it first came out, it was just so incredible because I just felt like this creative side of me just kind of burst open, and my left brain just kind of quieted, and I was able to really kind of sense more stuff and see more stuff in different structures and visions. And I remember I was doing it once in the silent moment. I was kind of visualizing this cruise because I was about to go on a cruise. So I was just kind of like my left brain was trying to visualize the cruise in the water, and I couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, instead of the cruise in the water, I saw me driving in the desert in a convertible in the desert with somebody. And I was like, why am I driving in this desert? A couple weeks later, a friend of mine that I was supposed to go on a cruise with canceled the cruise. And then another friend of mine invited me to a conference in Vegas. And then there I was in this convertible that she had rented driving down the desert. I was like, oh my God, I literally just saw this in my geometric patterning. And it just really had me realize that, my left brain, while it's great, it's super limited, and, it tries to force things and think things. And my right brain, I guess, has all this potential, and it really balances both brains and really has me access something so extraordinary inside of myself with this incredible angelic reformation.
While attending a D event in LA, Master John walked into our room and announced that upon doing a personal session with an older individual, he noted that he saw a 90% improvement in his brain functioning just by listening regularly to geometric patterning. When I heard that, I said, wow, I got to try that. So immediately I started listening to geometric patterning myself on a regular basis. And guess what? It works. It really works. It improved my memory as well as my recall and brain function overall. So all I could say is thank you for providing us with this blessed tool for our use and development.
My name is Christine. I am living in Bronx, New York, and have been using the processes and tools since they each have initially come out. Geometric patterning has become a very important and I would say necessary process for me. I am one of John's miracles. I am still alive, fighting cancer, more than 6 years now. And part of the protocol for a while was chemotherapy, radiation, and every whatnot that comes with that. And they have an effect of nervousness, lack of memory or clarity, not able to sleep through the night, and fitful sleeping. So I can wake up and be happy to wake up and embrace this day that I still get to live and enjoy and be here for, but with a sense of overwhelm and confusion. But when I listen to geometric patterning, it's like it lights the way for today. I might be concerned, what about this? And it says, put that on your Thursday to-do list. But that thing over there, no, that's not for today, that's for Saturday. And it simply guides me and lights up for the day what to do. And in the most geometrically, beautifully harmonious, loving, wonderful way. Interactions that might have been stressful, it finds this loving, best possible way through it. So I sing the praises of geometric patterning for quality of life, even in this stressful time period and whatever elements might be pulling at you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this process.
A big thank you to Ida, to Suzanne, who was so excited to share her experience with Geo that she forgot to share her name. And thank you to Christine for sharing all of your experiences with us today. So the first time that I listened to geopatterning, it actually was not right away. I remember that this is the only process that I bought that I didn't listen to immediately. It was kind of like I had to just be ready to listen to it. It had to happen at the right time. I couldn't force myself into it. I put it on my phone right away, but I don't even remember how long it was before I bought it and listened to it for the first time, but I do remember listening to it for the first time sometime in, I believe, 2017, and I was in Rock Creek Park back when I still lived in DC. I was on a hike and something about being in nature, and it was a beautiful afternoon day, and I just sat aside on a path and decided to listen to geopatterning. And I remember really enjoying it. And also that it was not one of my go-tos. I didn't listen to it every day or necessarily even every week at that point. How I use it now, I primarily use this process when I'm doing work on the computer. Particularly right now, I am in school getting a doctorate, and I put it on repeat on low volume when I am sitting down to write a paper, working on my dissertation, doing homework, and also when I'm doing work for work. It just makes things go smoother and faster when I do that. It's not really even a conscious, I guess it is conscious on some level, thought anymore. I was going to say, it's my habit. It's kind of like I get this little nudge put on Geo and I just have it on repeat while I'm doing things like that. And it does seem to make things that maybe used to feel more onerous or tedious, just not. It's like smoothing out the edges. For me, it kind of feels like it's unlocking this direct path to the destination that I'm looking for, the purpose that I'm looking for. It just kind of makes a straight, direct pathway to that thing somehow through what happens in the process. That sounds like an interesting explanation. I've never actually said that out loud before, but that is kind of the best I can do with how it feels. This is also one that I tend to fall asleep to if I choose to sit up and listen to it properly. Like all these processes, it is best to sit up in a chair, something comfortable, and listen to them with your eyes closed most of the time. And I don't have a problem falling asleep with most of these processes. I listen to them, I'm awake. I might be in a different state, but I am definitely awake. For some reason lately, and by lately I mean the last couple of years, if I sit and specifically go to listen to Geo, very often I will go from having absolutely no tiredness, I'm not sleepy, I'm wide awake, it's the middle of the day, I will get knocked out during geometric patterning for some reason, like deeply, go very deep, and then wake up a few seconds or maybe a minute before it finishes. I don't know why this is. But it's also not necessarily unique to me. And it's also, I've seen this happen with these processes and also other events through this organization, wherein you are fully awake and then they're working on something, whether it's through a process or through an event, and all of a sudden you are out. And then you wake up as soon as whatever they were working on, and by they I mean the angels, whatever they are working on, specific, very specific blessings, like in each of these processes. And when they're done, you wake up as though you weren't tired at all. That has happened to me with other processes, but for some reason it's been happening more consistently with when I'm listening to Geo properly. It feels like very deep work is being done on my brain when I listen to this process. And I think that's partially why I get knocked out if I am not otherwise distracted. Like when I am listening to this process, when I'm doing work, so I'm not being knocked out at that point. But if I'm just sitting listening to it, it feels like very deep work is being done on my brain. I've also had several instances of receiving new ideas or creative ideas to projects that I'm already working on while I'm listening to this, whether it's for the podcast, my dissertation, my work, other areas in my life. That has often happened while listening to geopatterning. So as with all the processes, your mileage may vary. Everyone has different relationships with these different tools, and these are consciousness evolving tools. That is what they are for. They help you in different areas, as I say at the top of every show in this season. And you may experience it in a very unique way that is somewhat different from the next person to listen to the same process. So you heard several different ways between our lovely testimonials today and myself. And it may be different from somebody else in your family or your friends who listen to this process. It may also vary for you depending on the time in your life. Geo did not always put me into a deep sleep when I am listening to it somewhat, like sitting up somewhat attentively. It didn't do that the first several years I listened to it. For some reason, the last 2 years-ish, that's what it's been doing a lot of the time. So whether I just need to be out of the way, my thoughts, anything else needs to be out of the way, whether my nervous system needs to be turned off while the angels are working on specific areas, whether there's something that I don't know and is above my pay grade and I don't understand, I need to be out for some reason while they are doing work with this process for now. And maybe in a few months or years, I will no longer need to be completely out while this process is on and I'm listening to it attentively. We don't know. These processes are very unique in the sense that each process does have very specific purposes with very individualized blessings on a specific topic for each person, but they are tailored to each person. Not all of us are going to need the same type of healing that psychological repair can bring, for example. Different folks will need different blessings and healings because we're all different. Now, the amount of the number of blessings, the type of blessings that come as that package within, say, for example, psychological repair or geometric patterning, if we're talking about this process, you won't find those blessings in a different process. They are specific to each unique process, but how they work on us is individualized because we have different needs for our own makeup, our own physical makeup, energetic makeup, our every aspect of us, our divine makeup that we don't see or talk about much in this state, in this lifetime, since we are physical beings, or at least we identify and see ourselves as physical beings. So even if our spiritual anatomy is being worked on through the use of these processes, we don't necessarily see that or feel that, but the point is, similarly to how we could each go to the dentist has the same ability to use all of the tools in their toolbox for each person, but each person that comes to them has different issues. Some people need a root canal. Some people just need a cleaning. Some people need the teeth that you screw in. I can't remember what they're called, but every individual has different needs. So they go to the dentist for, and then the dentist will give them individually what they need. And that's kind of just how these processes work. And I was inspired to share that here now, as we've been going through all of these angelic reformation tools. Some of them are processes, as we have said, 15 of them are. Some of them are tools like the discs. Some of them are tools like the pendants that we can wear around our necks, the one I'm wearing right now. Some for our pets, our pet pendants, the home harmony device. So all of these different tools have the same ability to help people and are then tailored to you individually depending on what it is that they can help with that you need in that moment. Like every other process, geometric patterning costs $150. And again, these transformations and blessings are brought about by listening to this 26-minute process. You're simply pressing play and listening. These processes, they are compact, time-bound spiritual technology given to us by the Master Angels through the teacher, Master John Douglas. They are available to anyone who are interested. You can listen to them once in your life, or you will have them for the rest of your life and be able to listen whenever you are so called. As I said, Geo is an advanced development tool. That's what Master John has referred to it as. I would not listen to it for the first time having something that you need to go to or drive or an event right after the first time you listen to it. And just wait and see how you react to the first couple of times you listen to it before having something that you need to do in your life. It affects everyone in different ways. I am going to leave it there for today about geometric patterning. It is a beautiful process. It does various things for various people. You heard a little smattering of the ways that it affects people in this episode, but it could affect you similarly or differently. If you're interested in looking more into these tools, visit globalcma.org. And again, these tools are available to anyone interested to use for as little or as long as they are calling to you. If you feel called to leave a positive review for the podcast, please do. You can leave us a 5-star review with a positive word or two on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you are listening to this episode from. It does help the episode reach the people who need to hear it. We are winding down in this season. We only have a few more episodes to go for season 8, Angelic Reformation. We will probably close out the season in March, and it will have been a year since we started working on this season for Angelic Reformation. And for me, it's been a really powerful year to be able to speak about these really unique tools that you either come across or you don't. There's no big marketing program, again, no advertising, no one's going door to door about these. And there's not a social media campaign for folks to use these. It is there for those who, if you're asking me, are lucky enough to find it and feel interested in learning what these tools are about. And this is just a small way on this pretty small podcast to be able to share about each of these tools individually. And I hope that whoever is out there listening is finding some positive use for these episodes and enjoys learning about these tools. For me, they're fascinating. I am a researcher from a very scientific, grounded, and logical background. If I had more funding, time, and support, I would love to do major research on these tools just to show the scientific efficacy of them. That's not in the cards at the moment in a widespread way, but that is how fascinated I personally am by these tools, and I wouldn't be doing an entire season about this, gathering all of these testimonials to share, unless it was something that worked for me. And obviously all the other people who have been sharing their experiences throughout the season have also benefited from these tools as well. So as always, thank you for listening. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, and Awaken production and is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. The Let's Get Meta podcast is inspired by angels and supported by angels. If you would like to be a patron angel of the podcast, visit patreon.com/letsgetmeta. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.